Hello there, and welcome to episode 2 of the Hyperline Podcast. That's right, ride on down to the lane with us, and you can get Etani Low Sand as well as soon as you arrive. Welcome. It's time to talk more Deadlock. My name is Kaelaris, who was haphazardly on the Deadlock night shift, hosting everything that was going on last week. I just,
instant flex immediately.
I think instant cheeky plug, and
was
then of course
an all-time viewership record. Sorry, on that night shift. Just wanted to clarify. Like, was that the highest amount of viewers they've ever had that I remember? with no objective data to look at.
Well, there was only one difference, wasn't there, really? Anyway, and then, of course, we have Blank, who was on the week prior, which didn't have as much viewership. How are you doing, Blank?
Fantastic. Yeah, I'm here today. I'm clean. I've got no beard anymore. It's gone. It's very sad. I had a mustache, but I was told by the other guys that I wasn't allowed to have it.
Yeah, it looked awful. And of course, Jaeben, who is the only member soon to be on the night shift. Who knows? They will get the big trio from the Hyperline there. We'll see. What do you think?
For fun, yeah. I'm calling up Jason right now. Hello. No plans to be on the night shift, I think, unless some sort of miracle unfolds. But it's been a good time. Played a lot of Deadlock the last week. Really enjoying the state of the game right now.
Is this like our show reel for the night shift now?
Yeah. We're a 3-man package. Yeah.
What, you haven't made your
play-by-play and Guy, who is here.
Oh, goodness me. Yeah, I do think the game is in a pretty good state. I think balance-wise, not too bad. There are some big offenders though at the moment.
Are you trying to steer it back on course here? Is that what you're trying to do right now?
I'm like this on the wheel, trying to get us back in there. It's rocky. It's rough waves. Rough waves.
No, don't worry. I'll right this ship, Blank. Okay, of course. Let's talk about the big change that actually happened from our previous episode into this one is that we were all anticipating the 6th release hero, and of course it was Apollo. He won. Congratulations. 100% of the vote during that week went to him. Now,
hi there, Blank from the future here. The next discussion is about Apollo, but it is pre-nerf. This podcast was recorded before the nerfs came through, but yeah, just take that with a grain of salt.
Let's talk about Apollo and where he sits. I said before, Etani Low San, obviously, we've ad nauseum kind of looked at this hero, covered this hero, played with this hero, and how everything unfolds with him. He seems kind of good, seems kind of strong. Jaeben, I'm going to come to you first. What do you think about good old Apollo? Because I think he's taken the streets a little by storm. A lot of people said, I wish I'd voted for him earlier now that they've seen his kit. But what do you think?
I think he's really interesting. He's kind of like the new wave Yamato, I think. I think that's actually particularly reflected in his stats. From what I've heard, he's a really low win rate. I think he's like sitting between 45, 47 or something.
Really? Which
I think kind of makes sense when you look at the kit and how it plays and kind of the nature of this kind of hero. It's like very Yamato, like, yeah, I'm pretty aggressive in lane, I have a lot of sustain. You can't really beat me in these like early mid-game skirmishes, right? He has a lot of pick power. But once you get to like late game with these kind of characters, they hit like that. Everybody's got Spirit Rise Wall. Everybody, picks up Spellbreaker, and suddenly you just do no damage to anyone. But I think he's a lot of fun. The kit is like super flexible in terms of how you use it. Like the parry has a lot of different ways. The 3 is like so free. Like the fact that it's free aim feels amazing, and you can like hover in the air and then come down on people. Like very, very high skilled ceiling for sure. Being familiar with like where you want to dash and like when you want to dash and using his mobility in general is like a lot of his gameplay, I think. But definitely a really, really fun character for sure. Cool addition to the game.
Blinkers?
Yeah, his win rate does stink right now. It's 46.9%. Lower than Vindicta, which is crazy. Who do you think has the lowest win rate apparently out of Ascendant 1 to Eterna 6. This is going to surprise you, by the way. And I genuinely don't feel like this is correct. Guesses?
I'm going to say, hold. I'll run some numbers. I'm going to say it's
on the
weird.
website.
It's probably something like 7 or something. Something strange like that.
All right, 7.
Sinclair? I don't know.
It's Shiv, by the way.
No, of course it is. It's always Shiv. Yeah, but that's why they can never nerf him, and they never have nerfed him, because the win rate is always really low.
44.8%. It's kind of weird. He's got 19.5k matches, which is one of the highest outside of Rem, who over the last couple of patch cycles has 47,000 games. People love him to death.
Which old Rem.
kind of impressive. Kind of
I
impressive.
always love that Shiv argument. People talk about them patching the game and like, oh, they patch it off a lot. Win rate, like it's always the win rate that really makes the decision. And that's where
Yeah.
Shiv gets gutted every patch because everybody knows he's broken. Win rate doesn't reflect it, guys. He's broken. We got to nerf him again. Like,
Yeah.
every patch they kneecap him again.
I think there's a lot of players who make Shiv look really bad. And then, I mean, you played against Together recently, didn't you, Jaeben?
That was really
Who-
fun. Loved that one.
And you was
Yeah.
playing
What a great
Shiv?
game.
Where'd you go?
I believe he went
32 kills?
34, yeah, 34 and 3, I think was his end score line. It was duo with Parzival, their coach, the Abraham's coach. And I guess it was really late, and I guess, yeah, they were like, let's queue up together. So I guess Parzival is not a turn of 6. Together is a turn of 6, and then by their powers combined, they end up in roughly Ascendant. So yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah, Shiv, really cool character. Love that guy.
It really does feel like there's a threshold with a character like Shiv where it's like, oh yeah, once everything starts clicking, you're going to play like, I'm not saying you're going to play like Together, but you know, if a good player in the hands gets that click moment, they're just going to actually wreck face. But Blank, Apollo, give me your thoughts. Come on.
Yeah, sorry, I got a bit off topic there, but I think Apollo's a good character. I think James right. A lot of the kit feels really good to play around. I think the kit is just overtuned though. It's quite bloated in certain areas. I think getting it was 60% bullet resist on charging the lunge right now is fairly insane. That on top of getting bullet resist from the rest of his kit, like you can build fairly tanky on this character as well. I think there's been people like just rushing superior stamina, counter spell, and you still do a lot of damage. Not only that, you get heal on hit from Flawless Advance. There's a lot in this kit which just makes him very hard to kill outright. And I think more than that, it's like Flawless Advance is it's an annoying ability because the speed at which he repositions around you whilst doing damage to you, that's hard to deal with. As if you're an M1 carry trying to aim at that, you're looking at players like upwards of Ascendant 6 to Eterna 6 who are able to keep up with that momentum. Like anyone lower than that is getting absolutely just plunged into. So it's tough. It's tough.
Choice words.
Yeah, but well, it's the lunge, the plunge. It's kind of a ram, guys. It's hard. And I think there's multiple times where we've been playing games where an Apollo is able to kite us across half the map, where it's just annoying. It's annoying. He eventually dies, but he's wasted an incredible amount of time for a character that only has 1,100 HP.
You were even saying that like some of the flawless advances charges were being used just as escapes, even though he already has an escape as well, right?
You can go directly up. It's stupid.
Yeah, kind of crazy. And then the width, I would say, of the actual lunge itself in the flawless advance is kind of also, I would say, a bit unforgiving to the opponent. It's quite wide.
Yeah,
I'd
it's definitely
say
a bit
so.
of a cone to it. Yeah. I think it's a good call out on the parry in general. I think if I had one bit of feedback for his kit, because I think it feels really good to play, but I do think the parry is like weirdly clunky, and then like as a result, it kind of functions in ways it shouldn't. Like it also really functions as an escape because it basically comes out instantly and slides really fast, and it feels like it's better for doing something like running away than it is for actually like countering them, if that makes sense. Like I think they should probably add delay to it, which sounds weird. It sounds like it would make it worse, but you can't even really re-angle it, right? If you parry something, you basically just go in the direction you're looking. You have you can't be like, oh, I blocked something, now I'm going to get the counter, right? And I feel like that's how it should feel, and then it would also give it a bit more of a play pattern that made sense, probably, because you could almost certainly guarantee you're going to stun them, right? Sometimes I feel like I parry something and I'll fly straight past them because I had no time to realign and they were like, moving lazily to the left. And that was enough to just completely dodge the parry by accident, right?
My question is that stun too much, Blank? Because that is a brutal stun that Apollo can inflict upon his opponents.
Yeah, he's 1.8 seconds maxed out, and there are people just maxing too really early. I think 1.8 seconds is way, way too long. I mean, if you take that in context of Venator, I think it's 0.95 or 1.05 seconds for something
1.05 since the buff.
Yeah, so 1.05. So that means you have to not only have good positioning in fight, you need to line up a target with a wall and also be in a position to hit that gut shot. I think that there's a lot of things that have to come together there for a 1 second stun, as opposed to just pressing 2, hoping something hits you mid-fight and then getting 1.8 second stun. It's very punishing. And the way I've always put it is that like that to me, that should be like an interrupt. The parry should be an interrupt. It shouldn't be like a flat out stun that causes you problems. That the punish has already happened. That whatever was charged up, for instance, Doorman, a Bebop, Geist, the damage has already been done once you parry them. Then you get away because you stunned them out of their roll or whatever. So I think it's too long. It is too long right now. And again, I do think that Apollo, his kit wise, I really like his kit, Jaeben. Personally, I just think that numbers need tweaking. I don't think there's any like rework required for this character.
I agree in general, definitely. Yeah, like I said, I think it flows really well and it feels very flexible in what you can do. There's so many different ways you can utilize the abilities. And he's like a great get in and out kind of character. One thing I think is really interesting about this character that I've heard about the One Tricks playing it is that they've started rebinding Flawless Advance to right mouse, which I think is really funny. They're like, no, I don't think there's any other like mass keybind change that is popular for any character yet, but because of the way Flawless Advance works, it's like they use, instead of, keeping ADS, they just rebind the 3 to R&B and then use that to aim it, which sounds really cool. I think that's really neat. And there's like a spell that was like, it almost feels like it was designed to kind of operate with the mouse, and people are like, yeah, I'll just do that. Like,
Yeah,
I don't need to play Apollo. Like, I get him every game somehow.
Yeah, I think I've already put this feedback on the forum somewhere, but it's a case of like, you genuinely, I think you fix a lot of this problem by just putting Flawless Advance on 2 and then put Riposte on 3. Because the whole point is that if you're holding 3 right now, it's hard to press A and D like effectively, because I usually use my index finger to press D. You guys are looking it out because that's how you like changing positions. It totally makes sense. They're moving it over towards right click so they can press A and D and move around more flexibly whilst they're charging it. So I like that. Maybe we don't just need to do a global change and switch it to 2. Maybe just like force your players to adapt.
I have a wheel over there. I've got floor pedals. I'm going to rebind it to that and see how that works. What do you think about that?
I'll do it.
Yeah.
Steer the lunge into position.
When my wife's playing Euro Truck Simulator, it's going to be great. Anyway,
Highest ranked Apollo who plays on a steering wheel.
That would be a
turn
good
left,
stream.
turn right.
Be a good stream.
There will be a lot of death on my end, I think. But let's talk about actually the ult. Itanilo-san, I want to get your guys' kind of feelings on this. We haven't really touched on it too much. It is an extremely flashy ability. I think it looks really, really cool. Jaeben, what do you think about it?
I mean, it looks incredible. I will say, I thought it would be better than it is. That might seem like a weird thing to say. I don't think it's bad by any means. But it is very much a finisher. And I don't know. It's like early mid game, very good, right? You hit 3 flawless advances. You maybe hit the one, I forget the name. And then, the Itanilo-san will kill them. That's pretty normal, but that's not out of the range of like, a character that fills this role doing that, right? If Yamato hits all her abilities and then ults, you're gonna die. Like, that's just how it goes. It definitely has like some team fight value, but I don't know. Like, I think there was something. I think the first day it came out, it was like going around walls a lot better as well. I found that in later patches, it feels like it's a lot stickier in the line. You get stuck a lot more. Yeah. I don't know. I definitely don't think it's bad. And like, mid boss, it's obviously still really good to like, stun everybody, like as the crystals coming down and stuff like that. It obviously still has value. And it's, amazing escape if you need to use it like that. Like if he turns around and low sands backwards, you're probably not catching him. So it definitely is not bad. But yeah, I've been a little bit whelmed by it, I would say whelmed.
Huh.
I like it for setting up overalls. I mean, we got decimated by Lash Itanilo-san. That was
like the wombo combo potential.
Yeah, the wombo combo was good.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of times where we were even like in team fights where the curse along everyone delayed long enough for the rest of their team to set up into something else or get out the way. I think it's like a nice engage tool, a nice disengage tool, because realistically, he's not in too much danger, like engaging with it, delaying everyone in the front line, and then getting out with riposte or flawless advance. So I think like for a spellcaster, he's like a surprisingly good engager or disengager. Don't know how they'll use it. I mean, I'm excited for tomorrow when we get to see it a little bit more in pro play, if we do see it.
Maybe.
If it doesn't get banned. But again, like, there is other problems right now where I think that Celeste is still just going to get first banned all the time. In the esports scene, I don't think she's making it out. And you also want to ban Rem. You also want to ban Apollo. I think that some of these heroes have been like last time we got Victor come out and it was like, that's horrible. Hate that. Just winning every single game by just existing. But I do think that Victor was sort of the only hero where people were really struggling. It took a while for people to figure out how strong Mina was and play her effectively because she was super squishy and you have to have like a very specific play style. Yeah, people are just picking up Celeste and dominating.
You sort of read my mind, because my next question was actually going to be, as you say, with esports tomorrow coming in with Night Shift, of course, do we see Apollo being banned straight away and things like that? So I guess I'll pose that question to you, Jaeben. Do you think that Apollo is going to be the Celeste level worthy ban? Because in Europe, obviously, we just didn't see it at all.
No, I don't think so. I think it'll be interesting to see if people are like brave enough to pull it out, I'd almost say, because I don't think he's bad. I just think he takes a lot of practice, and I don't know if people have it, and it would be like, why pick this over like Yamato right now, who we've got like 500 games on because she's been in the game since day one, right? I feel like, or even things like maybe Lash or something is like loosely comparable, right? In terms of like the role you're trying to fill. I'm not sure. I think people will play him. I think we'll almost certainly see him picked just because, flashy, cool. Ido is going to want to be the one to go crazy in a tournament match first on the pick, something like this, But
like a YouTube video.
I don't know if I'm, I don't know if I'm convinced that he's going to like dominate the draft or something, right? I don't think he is that Celeste tier, perhaps.
How about you, Blank? I mean, you've given your thoughts a little bit here, but like, do you think we're going to get Apollo?
I think Abrahams might pull him out, honestly. I think that Abrahams is so confident that they can go 2-1 no matter what happens. So I think they're happy to give up a game to play a new hero and just like have it on screen for a video.
It almost felt like that last week when
they did whack out the Sonya Venator, right?
Yeah. But I think
pre-buff.
But that's because I think they're just so confident they can close out the series no matter what. But I appreciate that about Abrahams, where they're good enough that they're willing to take a chance on a new hero just so everyone gets to see how a pro player might approach it. But also because they know they could just win in the end by just playing standard roster. But I think it'd be nice to see it. Again, I agree with Jaeben. I don't think it's Celeste level. Even though Celeste has received multiple changes, that is reworked territory character.
Rework? Jeez Louise. Okay, well, actually, let's... I don't know if I want to deep dive deeper into that. That's kind of...
Let's beat the Celeste Hammers.
Yeah. Let's not do that. Stop that.
The Blank Manifesto is coming out. The Celeste Manifesto, dude.
Okay, so if you think obviously Celeste needs a little bit of refinement or touching, we can actually talk about what happened with the patch notes that happened through, I guess, 13th and 14th of February. We didn't get a chance to talk about those on the first episode because we can't read minds when we don't know what's happening in the future. So there was a lot of stuff that actually happened in those patches. I guess we can go down to Celeste straight away since we're on the topic here, Jaeben. I don't know if she needs a rework, but there were some number tweaks here and there, but it still sort of doesn't feel like it's kind of enough. She's still pretty strong. What do you think?
Yeah, I think my issue with this character is like it doesn't feel very readable when you're taking damage. You kind of just die, and it's not particularly obvious. I've seen people talking about Dispel Magic actually being like one of these things that's like secretly really good into her. I haven't messed with that much yet as like an answer. Just cleansing off the debuff she puts on you with the one, so you don't take the damage from her left click. And kind of utilizing that to be able to duel back a little easier. But yeah, overall, I just think, I don't know, it's not very fun to be against. I know we addressed kind of issues with the shield last episode where it was like, hey, you can't break the shield or else you get silenced, and that's still very prevalent, obviously, and as people get better with her, it gets worse because they position better, right? I do think the radius on that is kind of crazy. I feel like, it's hitting like whole rooms and stuff. Yeah, I feel like that should be like a smaller ring around her. I feel like she should be committing to a melee play, kind of filling that fantasy of like, I'm bouncing the ball between us. Maybe another argument for a range is too big is the bouncing of the ball, to be honest. But yeah, I just think, the readability of like when you're dying is not super clear with her, and she does so much damage so fast that is an awful combo.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know when she's hitting me for a lot, and suddenly I'm like, oh, I took 2,500 damage instantly, and I'm dead. Okay, well,
So, for context, obviously the changes that actually happened during those patches were Shining Wonder got a little bit of a nerf in terms of the damage going out. That is, of course, her role. And then, obviously, she doesn't... there was some gravity change, Blank?
Yeah, they reduced the air acceleration, so she doesn't have as much control in the air. So it's kind of like nerfs her bee-hopping as well as just essentially getting around the map really quickly. She's a frustrating character to play against. It was down by 7% from 25. Which is a little bit of a nerf, but still sort of, you add superior stamina to that. Again, she's in just uncatchable territory again.
She moves so fast. I've seen some crazy videos for going from the side of the map to the other side of the map, and I'm just like, oh, guys, this is insane.
There's a 21-second record of delivering her right now on Celeste.
Just using jump pads and bouncing and...
Yeah, it's jump pad dashing, instant air dashing, and some corner boosting involved there.
Oh.
But it's still 21 seconds. And it didn't look that hard to pull off other than knowing how to do air vent dashing.
Knowing the route,
That's it.
right?
That's it. But yeah, there was one change that kind of annoyed me, which I haven't actually put us in our notes. Sorry about that. But it's the Shining Wonder bounce speed reduced. I actually didn't like that shit. I think that's meant to be angled as a nerf, but now it's like lingering in fights. Or when it's going to you, it's lingering. So if I'm like wanting to move the Shining Wonder out of the team fight to let it expire, I'm waiting for this thing to get to me, or waiting for this thing to hit my teammate, which is delaying even more time, because that's what she's great at. Like, she's a set it and forget it kind of character that also does it. I think you were saying this yesterday, Jaeben, is that she sets it and forgets it with her ult, Shining Wonder. That's just doing damage all over the place. But also the rest of the kit does an insane amount as well. So yeah, you're just dying to nothing a lot of times. You can't even see it happening. Again, I think the Shining Wonder needs its expiry timer increased, reduced, sorry. So if you sit out a fight with the Shining Wonder and it's not bouncing between anyone, it should go off you quicker. Like, I hate basically being put in timeout by Celeste.
All I've got in my head is the Austin Powers security guard, like, trying to say no as he's slowly coming towards him with the roller. You were talking a lot there, but that's all I could think of. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's
So
good.
you raised some great points, Blank. We didn't understand any of them.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, don't worry. I can edit that in. I can edit that in over that whole clip.
I appreciate that. In my head, all there's just a little monkey going shares. I know. I'm a simple man. But how about you, Jaeben? It seems for me, for my money, when I saw that the damage nerf came to Shining Wonder, I was like, yeah, but there's still 18 bounces if you like skill this up. You're locked in there with that. If you want to fight a team fight, you're going to have those 18 bounces unless somebody goes away for a little while and then comes back later. Like, it's a problem.
I think that is the problem, right? Is it does just dictate the team fight. Like, either you accept that you're going to take 18 instances of this damage, or that person is no longer in the fight and you have to disengage most likely, right? And I think that's a lot of power for one character to have, and it's not that long a cooldown, right?
It's 80 seconds.
Yeah, right.
Refunded by half when you miss it.
Yeah, if you miss it, you get half back. Yeah. I don't know. There's just so much invisible power in her kit that just doesn't feel like it needs to be there. Even things like the perma spell lifesteal on the one that's up permanently. She just has 35% spell lifesteal in her kit, just for nothing. Like, every other character has to spend 6.2 thousand souls to get. Is it like half of that still? Like, isn't Leech still not that much?
No,
it's crazy.
It's like 2%. Yeah, you're getting 3% extra. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's very strange how much is packed into it. Like, I think if I had to pick a direction for her, I would focus more on the utility that she provides. I would do things like, maybe you make it so, you want to get the shield silence and run in and kind of lock people out of a fight.
Yeah.
But you're not killing them on your own. I give the ball more slow as it bounces to people repeatedly. It's kind of an idea I had where if it keeps bouncing between people, the slow is building up, but the damage, maybe the first proc does a lot of damage, but every additional hit after that is heavily mitigated or something. And it becomes more of a setup tool where these people are all stuck here, but I'm going to need Infernus to come in and all, or I'm going to need Lash to have a free angle here, right? I just think it's a little too much in every direction right now, which makes her feel very overwhelming.
Yeah, I think the last thing I'll say about her is she's got a very messy role, and you're so right, Jaeben, in the terms of it's so tough to play against her. And again, I think the way I describe it is she's a hero you want to all in, but a whole kit denies an all in. Like, that's how you're meant to defeat her, but she's spell stealing so much from you, so you can't kill her in that moment. If you ever try and go on her as 2 players, she actually has the upper hand when she's fighting 2 players versus 1 player. Like, that's crazy to me. It's tough.
If you get a low, she always escapes. It's factual. I've never seen a Celeste player die. They just escape. It's
well, you haven't seen the Celeste on my team.
It's definitely the comment that's going around the block right now is that, you're making Celeste look balanced right now, which is apparently not true. But I think there are some people just picking her up and they have no idea how to play her, which is fine because she's a new hero. But I think that's the difficulty, is that a lot of people are seeing these Celestes who are just very, very bad on her, and then they maybe don't see the Celeste that literally run the whole lobby. And I think that's an unhealthy place to have her. I don't know. I mean, even if they just remove the silence from a shield, I think that would be a step in the right direction. If they keep everything else the same, remove the silence from the shield. That way, at least you have a way to deny the bounces if you're in a duel without being punished.
I have some faith in Valve to be able to kind of take a look at this and see what it actually works out for it. Likewise, I mean, some of the heroes, out of these 6, there's been moments where some have been very strong and some not so much and stuff like that, and they'll get there eventually, but it's nice to have their kits on in. One change that I do want to focus and kind of turn attention to on the patch notes as well is kind of the lane changes a little bit. Now, what do I mean by that? Shrine HP, of course, was reduced by 10%, and then on Troopers now get stronger from the specific lane that the Shrine dies in, rather than only after the both shrines have died, blah, 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 blah. So, Blank, how has kind of that affected your games? Do you think that's a good change here? Because it is something that will have little knock-on effects here and there.
Yeah, I think it's a good change. It's a good change. Unfortunately, it's half-baked. It's very half-baked, where there needs to be extra, where, for instance, I mean, I like the idea of it, but potentially needs to be a case where you take down one shrine, that reduces the cooldowns of people's death timers on the enemy team so that they can get in and defend that second shrine afterwards. Or you have a case where it's like the first stage patron to the second stage patron, where the other shrine is invincible for a short duration. Something like that. Because right now, that change basically never has any effect on any game I play in. Because if you take the shrines in any of these games, it's likely you take the second shrine as well. Now, whether that's a game issue as well, where the base is so hard to siege, by the time you're sieging it, you have the capability to basically run the whole base. I don't know. But right now, it's not really doing too much. I like the change in theory. I think that it needs a little bit more time in the kitchen.
I get what you're saying, because obviously back in previous iterations of Rejuve, that was kind of the only time that Troopers really got stronger, and that was kind of the push you would go with it, but it was just kind of a little bit too much, especially with what Rejuve was also giving you. So, Jaeben, what do you think? Do you have any kind of thoughts regarding this change?
Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations, right, about ending the game and how much of a challenge it is, and this feels like something that's meant to combat that. If you take a shrine, your minions are pushing. Now they have to always commit someone to defending. And now, you have a positional advantage. You can farm the map more, right? It makes sense in principle, kind of like what Blank suggested, but I do think it's not really doing enough because, most of the time you're taking one shrine, you're taking both shrines. I cannot remember the last game where I took one shrine and then we were like, let's go, guys. That'll do it for me. I don't think that happens particularly often.
And if we all suicide the first stage matron.
Yeah. I would worry about being like, you can't take the second shrine, because that's kind of defeats the point of the change, right? Where it's meant to be making games a little bit faster and making ending a little bit more reasonable. But I would, like you say, like some sort of more. Maybe if they even just doubled it and tried that, right? Hey, now your minions are way stronger, right? And then it's well, maybe dying and pushing and sieging this shrine and losing a few people could be worth it for the long term, right? But yeah, it does feel weird with kind of that same game flow we've discussed before, right? Where it feels like you have to get to a point where you could just run the lobby with your team compared to theirs, or you're not going to be pushing the base anyway.
Yeah. So I was just going to say that, I mean, I put out a tweet recently where I was asking if people felt like the games were going on too long. And I think it was, realized afterwards that I'd made a mistake, because what I meant when I threw that comment out was that games last too long past the point of we should be able to win now, which is confusing, because I think a lot of people assume that what I meant was I wanted the games to go back to the time when we were winning matches in 20 to 25 minutes. I don't want that. I just want games that when it gets to 30 minutes in the match and you are ahead by 40 kills, you should be able to end in the next 5 minutes. I don't think right now we have a case of, let's take that exact same game state, you're ahead by 40 kills, you're at 30 minutes of the game. Right now, you're winning maybe 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, or you might even lose because the game stalls out long enough for the M1 carry to farm out enough souls that they can just basically 1v11. And I think that's the problem I have with the game right now. And I think that comes back to sieging overall and back to this change with the shrine. I think it's a step in the right direction to get us further to that point where games end quicker past the point where we should win.
Sure. Yeah, sure. It feels like for a lot of pug games, when you're getting deep into the late game, sometimes even getting mid-boss with those rejuves, everyone just suddenly just scatters off and farms again. And you're just like, what?
Yeah.
What? Hello? Where's everyone gone? Like, we should be using this. This is like one of the only good win conditions that we kind of have in the game at the moment. Unless, of course, you want to go and get Urn, which is also quite good off the back of that as well.
Yeah.
So we yearn for the Urn. All right, well, let's take a look at some of the other heroes as well. Let's blitz through Silver here. Silver's base health was increased a little bit. From 725 to 800. Fall off range changed from 16 meters to 46 meters to 20 meters to 46 meters, so a little bit of a change on that minimum. And then, of course, ammo is increased from 6 to 7. Jaeben, you've played some good old Silver Souls Blank. We'll start with you, Jaeben. Any kind of big thoughts about these small changes?
I also been getting railed by Silver in lane lately.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, she was not very good at laning before. It was quite situational. You had to get some points, and then you could like bowler and then do the one right and get some burst damage. But now I feel like I'm getting like headshot by aimbot Silvers on cooldown, and like it's
Oh my God, that guy
disturbing
was
to play
insane.
against. So
One
it can
specific
be.
guy.
It is a lot more brutal for sure. Like it's a lot more rewarding to lane well with her now, I think, and I think she does have a lot of power in lane, which was probably needed to some degree. I think she was really weak pre-ult, maybe not really weak, but wasn't particularly influential outside of like maybe boot kick getting like an opening. But that wasn't really. She kind of needed her lane partner to like help set that up and kind of have some pressure. So I don't know. I want to say like it feels like it should be a better change, but it is pretty brutal. Like I am getting scoped out here.
Yeah.
Like, it's tough.
I think that the 75 HP increase was kind of nuts, honestly. Starting the lane at 800 HP was wild. I quite like the idea that her human form was a little bit squishier. But yeah, it's definitely a case that when I was playing Silver a lot, I wanted the fall off range to be smaller. But playing against it now a lot, she is just shooting you for a lot of damage. Like I'm getting chunked for 50 HP at a time now. It's hard. I mean, even them increasing the like and curse build-up rate was maybe a mistake. I think that she was already in a decent state. I think she needed her laning phase slightly. I think 18 meters would be fine. That I would like for that to be the case. But yeah, I don't
meet in the middle.
Yeah, I think the 75 HP was just not necessary at all.
Quite
she's
fair,
like,
yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll quickly move on to little old Rem, as I will be keeping tunnels close to me whenever a Silver's coming at me. With little Rem main just running away as fast as possible. Get away from me, Wolf. But little helpers soul gained on troopers when no nearby allies are around increased from 50% to 100%. This little critter in games has got some interesting capabilities and also maybe some problems. Black, and I'll start with you first because we've had some conversations about where Rem sits right now.
Yeah, I think me and Jaeben both hate Rem. Actually,
I love it.
If he's on our team, we hate him. If he's on the enemy team, we hate him. Or it. I don't even know what it is. But yeah, I think that Rem just causes such a problem in terms of economy as well as macro on the map. Like, the fact that Rems do find value by pushing waves with little helpers, but you're also taking away a side laner's opportunity to farm by doing that. Rems also are able to quickly clear all the Sinner sacrifices around the map. sometimes they clear yours as well. Why are they doing this? We'll never know. Because they can. And I think that there's a lot of games you see where Rem ends the game like 10, 15k ahead of everyone else. It's absolutely a misunderstanding of the role from players. And I think it's fair enough because you give someone the ability to free push waves all game. You give someone the ability to just basically throw some little puff balls on some sinners and grab themselves all the money. They're going to do it. And fair enough. But it's abysmal to play with at times. So because we have a good friend who plays Rem and he's really good. He is actually really good.
Turnus.
He's a Turnus.
Turnus,
He's a
I
Turnus.
understand, yeah.
Incredible player. And he plays a good role, and he's helpful. He gets and fights his healing, and generally is always in the right place at the right time. I like that. I do like that about him. But he doesn't steal all the jungle on the map, and he will only push a wave when we're actively like trying to get something done elsewhere. So he's like side.
It's because we had to tone him back. You forgot the part of the story. We had to rein him back.
We did have to rein him back. There were some choice words sent out, but yeah. Again,
a strong letter.
A strong letter was sent.
Fair.
Yeah, he plays it very well. But it took him a while to get to that point anyway. So Rem can be your best friend, but I do think that people still don't understand that he is primarily a support player. You should not be vacuuming the map of souls.
Yeah, I'm imagining Rem players, they've got a little angel Rem on one shoulder and a little devil Rem on the other shoulder.
Could be your angle or
It's
your
some great
devil.
fan art. Kaelaris with the angel Rem and the devil Rem. That's great fan art right there.
You could be healing the team right now. You could be bouncing between them.
Take their
you could be
sinners.
taking all the sinners. Ooh, I like that one. Jaeben, what's your
Push
thoughts?
the wave.
Are you echoing this?
Black raised a great point, right? You give people these tools, they're naturally going to be like, yeah, I'm going to go do it. Woo, I can steal the sinners. That's so cool, right? And yeah, it's. I think it's like what you said, right? It's just so easy to do. It's so easy to just drop the followers on the minions and forget. It's so easy to like, oh, I'm going to go take all the sinners because I can do it and then go do something else, guys. I'm supporting while farming.
I'm in the tunnels now, guys.
Yeah,
Taking
it
all
is
the
one of those
boxes you
things
can't get to.
It's so true. Yeah, it's like 12 more boxes that no one can have. Yeah, it is one of those things where it's so easy to do it that it's naturally in a lot of their play patterns, but it can be very damaging, I think, to like, lane states and like letting the right people get souls. Like, yeah, it sounds great that your team gets all the souls of a side lane, and that's perfect if you could not farm it otherwise. If you could, I think you'd want those 100% souls on some of the benefits of items and not, split between 6 people.
You're not keen on these pillows hitting people really hard? No, you're not keen on that?
I mean, I might be, but like, they're building like their 6th active, which is great, but it's not. It's not making my Victor carry the game. That's all.
It's really not. It's really not. I mean, I like Rem. I do like Rem. I think he's a really interesting character, but the tunnels are there for a reason. That is money that you can make up as a support player that no one else can have. Rem. So stay in the tunnels.
I want to see you.
Get in those trenches.
Absolutely.
Get in the trenches.
Absolutely the most satisfying hero to kill as well, by far.
Yeah. Oh my God, you hit a nasty clip.
I have that great clip. Yeah,
I'll link that on screen. I'll link that on screen.
Yeah,
right
that was even better because it was Rem. If that wasn't Rem, I'd be like, it's kind of cool. But on Rem, whew, to the moon.
The holy
Rem
trap.
sympathizer. What the hell? Leave Rem alone, okay? Let him live in those tunnels. I did have a topic that I wanted to bring up about the tunnels and stuff like that, but that could wait till another time because it's a whole interesting concept in itself. Let's move on from old Rem. He's not seeing much love from Blank and Jaeben here, but I still love him all the same because he's really annoying, and that's why I like. But let's go on to Venator, actually, because obviously there was a slight change with him, especially on his ult Jaeben. I know you have been loving the Venator and also hitting some nasty shots, but there is now a little change to the fact that you can see a slight laser, but it's nowhere near as clear as Vindictus, right?
No, not even close. It's a lot more thin. I want to issue an apology to Venator and whichever church he represents. I wasn't familiar with your game. I think I said in the last episode, I think you're kind of boring. Your kid is not very interesting. Turns out I was horribly wrong. This character is great, very thrilling to play. I think
look at your match history.
Something I say a lot is I think something that makes the grenade so fun is that it's not just like put circle on the floor like every other AoE in the game. It is like, the little Call of Duty noob tube, like you blast a little tiny grenade, and it's like weirdly satisfying to like thread the needle and hit someone going up the stairs, or like hit a minion and it blasts and hits them. Yeah, like it's a surprisingly satisfying play pattern. But this round of buffs. And I'm just going to say buffs, because, like, people were, like, dooming about the ult nerfs a bit, but I think this thing was overkilling dramatically anyway. And now it's like, it's still killing them. Who would have thought? I was looking at a replay with a friend recently, and I think we saw that I headshot Amina at, like, 30k souls I was at or whatever, and I think it did 1,800 damage or something, like, combined, which is, like, it's all the multipliers adding up, but it's just nuts, right? Like, and that was post-nerf. But I think the real win of this patch is Gutshot, which feels unbelievable now and is like so fun to play with. One of the criticisms I had when he first came out was like, I don't know why he has this staked melee thing when you can't even hit a melee off the 2-star. It didn't make any sense, and there was no duration increase. But now they've plugged a duration increase with 2 points into it. So now I rank Gutshot up to rank 2 straight away, and you just blast people into the wall and you get a full heavy melee into a grenade into like, full clip, and it's so much damage. So satisfying comparatively. I've even seen like melee Venator going around, because you can get that full melee now, right? It's basically Abrams. Like, it is the same stun. So like...
I think generic Ed's currently playing at the moment. I'm kind of curious when we're going to start seeing Echo Shard Gutshot Venator. Because that's going to come at some point. Because I'm starting to see a lot more Echo Shard Shoulder Charge Abrams, who I despise, by the way. Absolutely.
Don't put that out into the ether more than it needs to be. Sorry, go on.
I have been playing against it a lot, and it's very annoying. People do just melt you with Shoulder Charge Abrams. Yeah, it's really fun. But I think Echo Shard Gutshot could be cool. I actually really like the idea of that. So we'll see if that starts getting a little bit more... love, hype, because I think you can go point blank as well and it still be pretty damn good on that character. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, I think even I'm gonna pat myself on the back a little bit. But last podcast, I was talking about getting some cooldown reductions on Venator, and all those came through.
You did,
because they were necessary. And I think he's in a good spot right now. I think a lot of people were dooming about Era
Domini.
Era Domini.
Pronounce it like Jake does on Night Shift.
I can't even say it. Era Domini.
Era Domini. There you go. I'll do it properly.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that people were doing about this possibility. But yeah, I think it was rightfully nerfed. It was insane. And like Jaeben said, I mean, you hitting meters in the head for 1,800 damage is still damn good. Like,
I'm telling you, it's not really enough. I promise you. He was overkilling, so he's still overkilling a lot. I'm pretty sure in most circumstances. Like, it has a raw execute on it. Like, I'm pretty sure you're still killing them most of the time. Like, I think this change was like, it was like to settle the haters a bit, because it is a very obnoxious ability, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Like, I've died to it. It's not particularly fun when he just, especially like,
full
Venator
HP
has this play pattern where it's like, you'll trade 30% of your life for 30% of their life, and suddenly they're in kill range. And you're fine. you whack out the crossbow and they go, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Peace. And then Celeste is gone. She's just...
But it was Celeste, so I died anyway. But
Exactly.
I tried to counterspell a Venator, by the way, and I counterspelled, and he missed. It was the most sad thing I've ever seen. And then he just killed me after that. It was depressing.
You deserved that.
Yeah.
So my question then is, obviously there's a lot of other patch notes in here, but we could be on it for ages, was these last 2 patches a success for the game, for the direction and things like that? From my perspective, I think some things are going in the right direction, but some of these heroes are still very strong. Blank, what are we thinking?
Yeah, I think the big success here was design philosophy. I think Defy's got a really good video going over all of this, and I'll link it on screen as well. But he's basically talking about the design philosophy of the heroes, and I've been thinking about this a lot as well. I think that they're starting to get in their groove of how they want to design heroes, what feels good, how players interact with these heroes, and how these heroes interact with their own kits. I think this is awesome. They've really hit the nail on the head here of making fun and interesting kits, which I hope is the standard going forward. That was a big success. What I would say is not so much a success is how rushed some of these kits felt and how rushed some of like the changes to the base felt, where like they hadn't felt fully fleshed out. They hadn't fully thought out the ramifications of things. And then we're just trying to get stuff out there, which I totally understand, where they're trying to accelerate Deadlock's release cycle a bit right now, where they're trying to get to that count where they've got 50 heroes to play around with. Feels like a true MOBA. They have all they're getting round to doing the jungle next. But yeah, I do think these things take time. And for Valve, personally, it is an insane cycle. So for me to even say it feels rushed feels almost unfair to them, because it's 6 damn heroes in the space of like 3 or 4 months. That is an incredible turnaround. And for most of those heroes to like work, not be too buggy either, that's impressive. Sure. But yeah, I do worry just a little bit about that. But I'm sure at the end of the day, this is still alpha playtest. And there is a ton of playtesters right here. Just make sure you're writing on the forums, because that's what they're there for right now. If there's things that you don't like, the point is you're playtesting these heroes, you're playtesting these base changes so they can have more ideas of what to change, because they're throwing in many things quickly, which is why I don't mind as much. It feels a little bit rushed, because the idea is to get stuff on the blank canvas at the moment.
That's the name
of
of
our
the
new
next
side
show.
segment.
Yeah, exactly.
Blank canvas.
What are you painting today?
Well, I just pull it in from the side of the screen.
An easel.
I drew Rem.
Look at him. He's terrible.
Wait,
Jaeben, what you thought?
Did you see that photo? I'm going to throw that up on screen.
Okay. What photo?
Look in our group chat.
Hyper-realistic Rem.
And then go up.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's cursed. Don't avert your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Avert your eyes.
That's what
Don't look
someone
at that.
drew earlier.
No. This is anti-Rem propaganda. Okay, stop. Jaeben, please save
I
us.
love it.
No.
Yeah, no, I think overall it's hard to not say it's a success. The player count numbers are at all-time high again. Like, people are super interested. I think there's been more like fan appreciation for this round of heroes than the last, dramatically, because I think there's a lot more obvious personality and design flair with this pack, right? It's very clear that the direction is getting better and better, and like you say, they're getting a lot more of a better scope on like how they want to execute these heroes and like the themes they want to hit and stuff like that, right? So I think, yeah, definitely a huge success in that regard. I think it's fair to criticize some of it, like the development thing, in the case of like at some point this will be an open beta, right? You'd think, and maybe at that point, if this is how they came out, we'd all be like, but we're not there yet. And like I say, I think a lot of it is them throwing stuff at the wall and just trying to get stuff out there, and they can kind of like polish it up as they go. So I think it's fine for now, like you say. But yeah, I think it's been a really great patch. I'm curious what the next few months look like. I guess, like, do we hit a lull again? Is there more coming? I don't, there's no real way to know, just because of how the releases have been. Obviously, there's been pretty big gaps between these major patches, and I think people will start to taper off. Obviously, like, it's always very exciting when there's 6 new heroes for like a month, 2 months, but then, it starts to get a bit, it is just the game at that point. So you're either, and we live in the Zoomer generation where you need a battle pass, you need levels, and I need to be climbing ranks that mean something. And like, there's obviously ranks, but they don't mean anything. So
I will say that one of the really cool things is that, you know what? There hadn't been that many leaks. So I think towards the beginning there was a couple, but it was actually really exciting as all the heroes came out. We didn't know much about them. And then getting to actually see them on the release without being spoiled by some horrible guy over on social media, that was really fun. I enjoyed that. I actually really enjoyed it. And I think that it elevated this patch even more, where players got to experience these things at their own pace rather than the pace of the leakers.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Cool out,
Yeah, because I mean, from my perspective, when it came to the first 6 that were coming along, I knew so much about them before they came along, man. And then this time around, I genuinely had no clue what these kits were going to look like. I told you guys, I thought Celeste was going to be a support. And then she comes along and she's anything but, and she kills everything. So like, I'm like, not my character, but that's fine. And I like what you were saying, Jaeben, about kind of like identity and character of these 6 compared to the last, because in a lot of instances in the last 6, it was like, we've got Paige, she likes books, and we've got Drifter. He kills people. I was like, doesn't everyone do this on the in the game? Like, what's happening here? But yeah, so there was, I think the depth for me from the last 6 really was Doorman, where it's like, okay, this guy might actually just be a god, just like he kind of likes it down here, and he's a doorman now because he kind of liked it here, which was kind of cool, especially all the voice lines that came along with it. But what you said last week, Jaeben, was that like that was kind of almost the turning point for some of these designs, and I think that's kind of it's really seen in these these 6. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Nothing more than that. No,
It was
Well,
like, I've had enough of you. Well, last
That'll
week,
do it for
sorry.
me.
Can
Yeah,
I
good point there.
can I do a little interjection here? This is
Please.
it's not in the show notes either. I'm going a bit rogue right now. But I'll link this. I'll link this so you can all see it. There was an article recently
about the next 6 heroes.
by PC Gamer.
Leaking the patch schedule for the rest of the year.
I thought this is a really good read actually. But I think that people looked at it and then kind of took it in a really bad light, which I didn't understand whatsoever. Essentially,
Oh,
yeah, the guy talking, he just says that he loves the characters of Deadlock so much that he'd take anything else that wasn't a MOBA. But people were like, oh, if you don't like MOBAs, don't play it. In this entire article, it talks about him having 2,400 hours in Dota 2, that he likes MOBAs, that he just thinks that the game has such good lore that it could do anything else. So I was like, I don't know why people are hating on this guy, but I think he's right. But he did like a very good, what's it called, summary of all the different characters and the little groups in the game. There's stuff that I just didn't even know.
like the Ixians, like the people coming from the fact. Okay, question, Mr. Blank. Excuse me,
Yes.
sir. Please,
Yes.
please. My counter argument, as soon as I see this article, is like, where can all of these characters exist in another game that isn't a MOBA? I get you could maybe try and make something that's a bit more of an adventure game or something like that, but I don't think you would interact with the whole cast of characters anywhere near as much as like you would in a MOBA.
Yeah, for sure. But again, I think that's where your argument right there is exactly where people took this out of context. Is that I think that the guy is just like, I'm sad because, the lore is really good. It's not that I don't like the MOBA. I think the MOBA's good. But it just, that lore could go elsewhere. I mean, I'd even take books about Deadlock, and I think there's been lots of teasers about comics in the past for Deadlock, which will be coming at some point, you'd hope.
Sure.
But yeah, I just like this article because he's like, there is such good lore. I think the title is maybe slightly unfortunate, where he was always going to get dogpiled for this. But yeah, I think people could have done with a little bit more reading further in the article than just the title.
I'm skimming, and I feel like Deadlock is almost like laying down the foundations of what is this lore, right? And it's a very easy way of being able to introduce you to all of these characters at a rapid pace compared to something like a comic book or a animated Netflix TV series, or something like this could do.
Yeah,
could do, right? And then eventually, if everyone's like, yeah, this game is really cool, actually, I will spend my entire life on this and commit copious amounts of hours to it.
Yeah.
Then that they could do something like that, right?
Yeah.
Like exactly what League of Legends did, where they're still talking 25 years down the line about making an MMO that's never going to come out, and they've already done their Netflix series, and they've done Teamfight Tactics, and they've done whatever the hell else they want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's I hope he'll get his wish at some point. I mean, this is where I put Arcane on the screen, then slowly fade it to a cult. But yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's very possible to go multiple places, and I'm sure it will in future. I have no doubt that Deadlock's going to be a big success. Be it like 300k concurrent players to 1 million. I think it'll be between that range at some point. I do think no matter what happens, Deadlock's going to be a success in the future. I think it's too good to fail at this point to not go anywhere.
It feels that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I definitely understand where he's coming from in the article for sure. I've talked about it before, like that Valve magic. And it captured me as well for sure. It was I want to say it was like Infernus Kelvin or something. I just remember I was playing and I was like leaving base to go back to the jungle, and I walked past Kelvin, and then Infernus and Kelvin have like some 45-second conversation about like the lore of the world or something about his bar. I can't remember the exact lines, right? I remember I know it was definitely Kelvin. And I was, it's just that kind of stuff gets me, I'm like, wow, these do feel like real characters. They're putting effort into building out these personalities and these worlds, and like trying to, get you interested in something deeper than just the MOBA itself. And that works for me, man.
definitely
It gets me every time. It exists
Yeah.
in Dota 2, and I love it there as well. I love it when the characters talk to each other. I love it when people call Phantom Assassin Mortrid because it's her real name, and they just know it, and you're like, who's Mortrid? You have to go, I'm going to look it up. Oh, it's Phantom Assassin's real name. Oh, look at her lore. Like, I just think it's so Valve to like go above and beyond with that kind of stuff that feels like it shouldn't matter, right? This shouldn't be a priority, but they clearly do care, and they do prioritize it. Even in this early stage of development, they care. And I think that's what makes the difference for me with this kind of game, is those character interactions and like that.
They are great.
It feels more alive, and it feels like there's more of a world being built on top of them making this great MOBA, right?
The cast of voice actors as well so far has been phenomenal. Like, the fact that I found out that Abrams is Samoa Joe, a wrestler that I watched on all the wrestling stuff, and also, of course, the Hidden King is Mr. Krabs. Like, I'm never letting this go. Yeah, money. No, I but at the same time, the world building, the lore is fantastic. However, as soon as I learned that Seven's name in a prior life is Electric, I'm out. I'm gone. See you later, guys. That's the end of the podcast.
Guys, you do too much. You do too much here.
What's happened?
Electric is brilliant. I still don't think that's necessarily confirmed, but it seems very heavily implied that. Yeah, Kelvin's old friend is possibly Seven, and his name is the first name is begins with L, and his surname is Etrick.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Because
wonderful.
I think in that little conversation I have, I think it's between him and Geist, I believe. He talks about his old friend Etrick. Doesn't necessarily talk about his first name at all, but yeah, we're all here conspiring that his first name definitely begins with an L, so it is Electric. It's funny, it's ridiculous, but it's good. I mean, fair play to him. Seven's such a wacky character anyway.
It's cool. And I love his, the voice actor and then kind of the modulation that they've put on it as well. It's perfect for the character. But anyway, we're getting to the kind of tail end of the podcast. All right, next topic that we want to talk about, of course, is bans and prio tokens that were added, of course, to the game as well. Now, for my money, I think both systems are implemented in a way I did not expect them to be implemented at all. But where do we sit with this, Jaeben? Because I don't mind the prio token sometimes if I really want to play a hero. It just takes so long to build up to it. And then the bans, they're not really bans to me. That's how it feels.
Too consistent. I like. I think I've enjoyed it. I feel like almost all the time I have my token, I get the hero. That's kind of what you want from it, right? It feels like, hey, I played a bunch of games on other characters that I still like, and then I get to play like Apollo for a game. I get to play Silver for a game, guaranteed, right? I think that worked pretty well. I think as a system, eventually everyone's going to get to use their token, right? Just how it goes. The bans are weird. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't know if it's like not everybody knows about it, so not everyone's using them kind of thing. I feel like there's a lot of games where the weirdest characters are banned, and I'm like, how the hell are we banning Infernus, guys? It's the year 2026. Like, they took him out back. Like, it's over. Like,
He's gone. Yeah.
And it's mystifying to me that enough, because supposedly, I mean, I'm not sure if it's like I think an all pick in Dota 2 works like this as well, right? Where everybody votes and it's random. And that could be how it works, and I'm just not fully understanding that it's just picking from the pool of everybody's choices. Or if it is, my understanding was that it was an average. It's a global. It's everybody's vote. My understanding is it was like an average of the game, right? If enough people voted Bebop, there was no Bebop. And that was how the game was made. But if it's not working like that, it makes a little bit more sense, I guess. And then, John 6, who hates Infernus, is in my lobby and he gets his wish. But
yeah,
it is a bit of a strange system.
I think I'd much prefer if it happened at like the start of the game where it just literally just give me bans. I don't really care about the all pick situation, but it would be cool if us as a group, a collective at the beginning of the game, almost like you both have played Counter-Strike before, right? No. Okay, well,
I've opened it. Once.
You've opened it. When you go into Counter-Strike, as you're going in, both teams like vote on both teams vote
I
on
ban
maps,
terrorist
on the exactly on the wheels.
Count terrorists only.
Yeah,
I ban B-site.
You ban maps according to your team. So what I would like is if we took the exact same function and we went into the game and you had all the heroes and everyone voted on a hero to ban, right? And then it just went random. That would be cool. And then the enemy team got to ban their own hero. But not in a case of anyone has prio on the ban, where it's like it used to be in League where its first pick got to ban and you would just beg them to ban Ari or Kassadin, and it wouldn't happen, and then you would get destroyed. But it'd be nice just to be everyone just gets an average. So say someone chooses Bebop, another one chooses Bebop, then the rest of the team's like, I could get on board with that. And then the enemy team gets to go, well, I don't want to play against Mina, so we ban Mina. I think that'd be good.
Would they just need a different way in which you queue for heroes, or would it just be, okay, you've queued for the hero, then even though we've allocated your hero, then that gets banned and now you're playing your second choice? Is that... Because it happened, your selection happens before you actually get to what you're saying, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I still queue as Bebop, and Bebop gets banned, so I don't play him, so I play Graves. That's how it works for me. But I suppose also, if you're playing kind of a broken character, you should sort of expect for that character to get banned sometimes. Okay.
What were you thinking?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Kael's hit the crux of it on the head, right? It's like the way the current system works, there's no functional way.
I guess so,
it seems great if we could ban before the game, but it adds a bunch of time. Everybody, like 50% plus of my games pause for 3 minutes at the start of the game because,
Someone's
Jason
got to
went
dog
to go,
for a walk.
went to go walk the dog and eat some pie, and we've lost him, and he's taken 400 damage to headshots from the Lash, who happened to be there at the start of the game. So like
even
a normal
like person.
Yeah, I can't even guarantee that my team will show up for the draft phase in the first place. Like, I'm sure once an actual system is in place and there's a full draft, they'll be all in on that. Like, they're gonna do it. It exists in Dota, right? They know it's a system that works. But I do think the current version is like one of the only ways it makes sense right now. It does sort of allow people to ban something they don't want to play against to some degree. It makes people feel a little bit better that sometimes, Bebop or whoever isn't there, right? I do think it's the best they could do for now, to be fair.
It would be nice to have like a little bit. I'm sorry, I don't want to go on this topic too long, but it would be nice to have like a little bit of indication of how many people are banning a certain thing. Like if you hover over a character, it's like 77% ban rate. Because I think that if someone hovers over Infernus and they middle mouse click Infernus, they're like 0.2% of people are banning this character. They're like, maybe I shouldn't ban this.
It has a pop-up that says, like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah, and it's just me. It's just me.
Do you accept that you are a fool? I accept, yes.
I would, but genuinely, I would like something like that. Not the fool part, but like the percentage part.
What you two have boiled the bans down to in this conversation is that the people are the problem, right? That's what...
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
They're not banning what I want.
Yeah.
So therefore, they're doing it wrong. That's the issue with the system.
Okay, right. Well, I'm glad we, put a point on that. And of course, the prior token is there. It's nice that some people are able to get to that.
It's great.
I don't think there's much more to say about the prior token, right? It's good that people can potentially play their own hero when obviously we get a lot more heroes allocated. If one's very contested to the people that are basically the higher MMR, and they always get it.
Super necessary for the new hero as well. Fantastic.
Good system. No notes.
Okay, fair. All right, let's get some notes on our final topic then for today. Movement tech versus unfair advantage. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot ever since I started playing Deadlock, which is, there is a huge amount of depth to this movement, and it is exciting to watch people get amazing at this movement and how kind of you basically inject your own style into it. Like you watching people move, kind of like, okay, these are, the really good players versus the players that need to kind of work on it a little bit. However, recently, Blank, there has been some interesting things happening in the community that some people know about and nobody else does.
Yeah, Ido, I'm going to put up his tweet on screen right now, but Ido actually had a very, very good tweet about this recently, basically talking about Deadlock movement is cool, but instant air dashing, one stamp dash jumping, and instant zip P doesn't matter if you get shot, as well as configs for better vision and mods to see enemy unsecured, unspent soul. What is determined as tech versus cheating / unfair advantage? Messed up about half those words in there. That's fine. General consensus got across. Yeah. The thing is that he's very, very correct in this, because we've had this problem in the past where you used to be able to, you can still crouch off the zip line, but you don't maintain as much momentum anymore. People didn't know about this. I think some people still don't know about this.
Definitely.
You can even dash off the end of a zip line once it ends, of course, to go a very, very far distance. This is further amplified if you've got movement buff. There's lots of things, little things that people don't know about. And I think that some of those stuff are totally okay. But when we start getting into things like this, which is binding crouch to scroll wheel, doing that between dashes, this is where you start to have a problem. Binding dash to B to same tick air dash to hold momentum. That's a problem. We're having to completely change how the game was intended to play to get some marginal advantage, which, to be honest with you, maybe isn't even that marginal. I've seen people getting out of scenarios that they should never have got out in the first place using some of this tech. There's zipline, I want to say a bug right now, where some players are showcasing getting across half the map just by tapping onto the zipline into wall bouncing, which maintains a crap ton of momentum.
Sure.
Yeah, this stuff is crazy. This stuff is really crazy.
I mean, there was also mods mentioned there as well in this tweet, and I am of the opinion, like, I disliked it when there was the FOV change that people were doing that now is kind of just in the game after the fact. There was timers that people were installing. There was the way which you could kind of see everyone's items and stuff like that compared to the base game and all this kind of stuff. When those were mods and those were there only for the people that have actually installed the mod, I think that absolutely shouldn't be allowed. The only mods from my perspective that should be allowed are skins that stay in the parameter of the actual model that exists in the thing. Because
Hot Mina.
Yeah.
Mina Bikini.
Well, yeah,
Bunny
Blank loves those. I don't care about that as long as it doesn't warp the size and shape of the model to put something really ridiculous.
The Kindictor.
But I think that the current mods that do exist, with the idea of being you said, see enemies' unsecured souls and unspent souls,
Yeah.
which just then paints a target on your back unless you've actually seen this huge orb on somebody from a distance or whatever. It's like, I'm not about that.
Yeah.
It sounds ridiculous.
It's about as broken as Sexy Dorman, let's be honest. And I think that
Very
quite frankly, I don't know if I've spoken to Jaeben about this too much, but there is mods right now where you can see exactly how many unsecured souls an enemy has. So you can know if someone's carrying on 1.5k souls and then go hunt them down for that. You can see that someone hasn't spent 5k souls, so you know that they're realistically a 12k character living in a 17k character's body. These things are insane. They're actually insane. And there was also one, I don't know if you've seen this one, Jaeben, but the Vision mod, not slightly tied to FOV, but the Vision mod I'm talking about is the one that on the top of the screen, all the heroes, they're grayed out if they're not visible on the minimap. So you know exactly when people are in vision, or you know exactly when people aren't showing on the minimap. It's crazy.
Yeah, I remember that one from the previous, like we talked about the previous round of mods have like made it into the game now. I do remember that one was there as well, the Vision one. I like that in theory. I mean, I like all of these things in theory, right? And the data's obviously there, which is why it's accessible. Like, I mean, technically, right, knowing how many souls someone has spent, you could just work that out by looking at their build and adding the numbers together, right? Like, it's doable. And so the unsecured is like a different can of worms.
Yeah,
that's a little bit different. But I mean, I think Valve has already seen things like this and just been like, that just makes sense to be in the game.
Yes.
You know, that's just QOL ease of life, right? Stuff like the mid-boss timer and stuff like that kind of came with this round.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think like the stuff that's less egregious is just stuff that they could just add themselves and like make this less of a problem. I do think the modding scene is really weird. The thing I like the most about this Ido tweet is that he like leaked all of the tech in the reply.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't care. Like, here's how you do all of these things.
Yeah,
people
he's
are
a cool
abusing,
guy.
you know. I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like there was that what was it? The Deadlock Anonymous tweet that was talking about, I think we're letting people get too good at the game, right? And like it's obviously a ridiculous sentiment, but you understand where it comes from. The difference between an E6 player moving and how often they live and how fast they cross the map and how fast they farm is crazy in this game. Like when you get good at all the minutia of movement, it is a nuts advantage. So I understand where it stems from, and that it can be very daunting to look at the things they do and be like, I have to learn to do that and like set up these angles and learn these windows, right? Like it is a very they've obviously built a game and the use of the engine to make these things possible, and then like let you go all in on it, which I think is really cool for a lot of reasons. But it is worrying, I think, when it starts to get pushed in a way like you suggested, where people are changing their bindings, and this thing with the zip line. I know you mentioned one thing, but I'm pretty sure there's another thing where it's like you bind moving a key to move up and down the rope, and if you're going between them really quickly, it puts you at like the blue speed on the hyperline instantly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can like jump on, do this bind to like spam the two of them, do this macro, and then you can't even be shut off because you're instantly in the invulnerable state because you gain so much momentum or something. It's like some crazy. This is obviously a bug, right? I don't know how this is still in the game. I can't fix it.
Confusion.
But I know there was a lot of cool in like I think the previous night shift that really good players were doing this because of course they are. They're trying to win a tournament, and if the admins aren't like you can't do that, like they're gonna do it. Like it's how it goes. Like they've all been doing this the whole time.
But again, I don't think that's on night shift either. Like there's so many things that are a gray area for Deadlock in the past. I mean, do you remember buff enjoyers when they were this is where the name came from, is that they were buff sharing, where they would all punch the buff at the same time, or at least stand underneath it, and they would all get the buff. You don't ban now because you don't realize that this thing. I think they got slightly penalized afterwards, but I think they realize that's the type of thing where it's not minutia, it's actually just broken. But yeah, again, it's tough.
Mind the concept of there being things to discover in a game. Like, I mean, of course, if you go back to the one of the first examples, which was Smash Brothers Melee, and how that competitive scene kind of developed, and then people discovering these kind of small things that worked with like movement and all of these little small things. Technically, you could go away and learn those. But things from me that are outside the game that you're then going and finding advantages against players that are just wanting to play the game, like I think that's not the way. Like,
do you know about King K. Cruel Crown?
His crown
tech?
he suddenly became a top tier character. Yeah,
but again, that to me is like a perfect example of outside the game, because you have to lose one stock by dying with the crown outside your hands and then pick that one up again.
Is that outside the game?
No, I think
like
not outside there, but it's like you're actively inting to gain an advantage which was otherwise unintended, I would say. Like having two crowns and crown juggling, that only happens if you die once. Like that's not in his base kit. But yeah, I think there's stuff like that where I'm like, well, I guess they leave it in, but still, I wouldn't like to see that in competitive personally. And it's the same stuff with Deadlock, where I like certain things. Certain things are cool. I think you can still pseudo instant air dash with the normal bindings. It's just not as egregious as someone who's like half a meter off the ground, and then they can instant slide. Like that stuff is impossible to recreate with the normal bindings.
I have changed my opinion of this over time with Deadlock, which is when I first started and I was watching people going crazy with movement and stuff like that, I was like, this is just too much. New players are going to get scared off by this. But I think as time goes on and like as the player base builds and it's bigger and people get set into their proper ranks, with a working rank system, then I think that you're not really going to run into, unless you're running into Smurfs, but you're not going to run into these people that have just got the insane movement.
Yeah.
Or together. Yeah, sure.
Let's go back.
At the lower ranks, they're not going to be going here, there, and everywhere, right? It kind of will sort itself out. Like that movement tech is the difference between ranks and ranks in this game, I would say, Jaeben, compared to some of the other minutiae.
Yeah, I mean, people constantly talk about this, right? The difference between E6 and A6, like, it just tells how you move around the map is almost certainly a massive part of it, because, like, it shortens everything. It increases how much gold you get because you're at places faster. It increases your kill windows because you get to fight sooner. You can gank people better. You can cross between lanes faster. Like, it's everything in the game, to be honest, is impacted from you being better at movement. So it makes so much sense that, like, the people who are really good at it and are naturally higher in the ladder, right? Or are E6, like, and that is like a big factor between the, I lane and shoot gun to, I lane shoot gun and I know how to wall jump perfectly so I can get to this camp faster and then I'm back on the next wave. I didn't drop any CS. Like, I've taken 12 boxes in this time window, which I knew was the exact amount I could do because of my wall jump angle that I've learned that let me get the boxes and I'm back on the wave. And it's like, the stuff like that, it's daunting at first for sure, but like it is the pinnacle, right? It's the 0.01%.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Deadlock.
Peak Deadlock. And with that, guys, I think we're going to put a bow on it for episode 2 here of the Hyperline. So let's go around the table and find where you can find everybody here to finish off the episode. Blank, how about you first?
Blankcast at most things at the moment. But yeah, make sure to subscribe and like and comment to the old Hyperline channel. We've got more stuff coming your way shortly, including this podcast, which is probably out by now, which is a weird thing to say. I apologize. Let's move on.
Stop, Blank, stop. Jaeben.
Cut him off. Yeah, at Jaeben _ Twitter, Twitch, pretty much everywhere that matters. Yeah, just really excited for the continuation of the game and how it's going. It's looking good.
Definitely so. You can find me at Kaelaris literally everywhere, at Adama and KL on YouTube, where we cover retro gaming stuff. And who knows, maybe I'll be on Night Shift again in the near future, because Kaelaris is taking over. All right, that has been episode 2 of Hyperline. You should subscribe here, you should like, and you should check out all the shorts that we're going to be releasing as well. And make sure to tune in next week, where we are going to be releasing another episode of the Hyperline. And who knows what we'll have to talk about, because 6 months hasn't passed, so that means there is no major patch until... We'll see. All right, bye. That's us for now. We'll see you next time for more Hyperline.